Hi, thanks for joining me. It's Betty Sakosha at bettyboop.stampinup.net, www.booptique.wordpress.com. Today I want to show you a little card that we made in a class that I recently taught. This is the card here, the finished product. Let's get started. For this stamp set this card uses the stamp set called Bloomin' Love by Stampin' Up. It originally appeared in the 2017 Occasions catalog and now is in the Stampin' Up! Big catalog. And it also has a matching framelit which has a very detailed lacy heart along with a couple of flowers that match flowers in the set. Okay, to get started, we're going to start our background piece here is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And I'm going to stamp that randomly using crumb cake ink on crumb cake paper. A good way to get a random look, just keep turning the paper along with your hand. And think less. The less you think, the more random it is. And know when to stop. Okay, I'm going to call it a day on that. Alright, then I'm going to take a piece of 1 1/2 by 4 inch cardstock, and I'm going to put that down the center of my randomly stamped crumb cake paper. Looks pretty good to me. I will set that aside. Then I'm going to take a 1/4 sheet of cardstock, or 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 inches, and I'm going to cut that using the detailed die that I told you about, which is this one here. This cardstock, by the way, is larger than it needs to be. It's just easy to do 1/4 inch. So I'm going to stick that right down there. I am using the precision plate, and I strongly recommend that for this. There's too much detail in this not to use the precision plate. You'll have a difficult time getting everything out. So it's the base, the precision plate, the cardstock, the die, and then a cutting plate right on top. So let me bring in my big shot, crank it through. And I do recommend with this, you're going to crank through forward till you feel it complete the die. You kind of hear a little snap, forward, backwards, and forward again. So essentially you're going through it about 3 times, and I find that it's much easier to get the image out of there. So I'm just going to peel off the heart part that we don't need. And then I'm going to pull in I call it a grill brush. It's a real name for it, but I don't know what it is, so I'm just going to call it a grill brush. And that will loosen up the die from the cardstock. At this point, with such a detailed image, you are going to need to poke out some pieces. I actually find this quite relaxing. Some people do not agree with me, but it's got to be done. I feel like it's kind of like doing a puzzle in reverse. It's like poking the pieces out of the puzzle. And there are some kind of interesting images in here. I have found a shoe right there, high-heeled shoe, so feel free to use that for another project. And there is also, in my opinion, a goat. Probably some state shapes. No states I know, but maybe your state. Alright, this is probably a little tedious to watch, but hang in there, I'm almost done. You're going to end up with what I call a lot of paper poop, so just keep a trash can close by. And we are almost done. Oh, good news. Getting close to the goat. I'll show you when I finish. Just a second. Apples. A bone of some sort. Yeah, it is kind of like the Operation game in reverse. Like you don't really want to touch the edges. Okay, here's the goat. No? Is it just me? Anyway, okay, there we go. Okay, so there's the completed lacy die. And at this point, I'm just going to bring in my soft sky ink and a couple of matching flowers and line them up as best I can. Don't make yourself nuts over this. It's just not worth it. That's pretty good. Okay. So there's 2 larger of the flowers in the stamp set and 3 smaller ones. And you will see, even if you haven't done it exactly, it's still going to come out great. Okay. All right, there we go. So there's our completed lace flower. Now the best way to put this on, because there's such little room on the back here to put adhesive, I find the best way to do it is just to use dimensionals. So we're going to use our regular size dimensionals. You don't even need the minis, though I love the minis. I feel like I save them for mini only projects, so you don't need minis for this. They fit perfectly behind these flowers. So the same flowers we stamped are the places you're going to place your dimensionals. So peel off the backs of these. They will end up in your clothes somewhere. You'll find them later in the day. I'm going to put this one on a little bit of an angle because I kind of like it a little bit off center, but I'll show you my original that I did do straight. I just kind of like that a little bit off center like that. And then I'm going to pull in my half sheet of cardstock, so it's 8.5 by 5 1/4. Give it a crease there and adhere that. Whoops, that was a mistake previously, so ignore that. And place this right down on the front of it. And then on the inside, just going to add a couple more flowers. Going back to my soft sky. And a couple of little ones. Okay, there you go. Completed Valentine's Day card. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.